So this is another Patreon request, and this comes from a new Patreon. One of his three requests he sent me, and I hope he sends me more in the future. And this is from Stingy Jack. And Stingy Jack asked me to do a interesting horror-centric crossover. Kind of like, he basically said, do like a Crisis thing with all the horror characters. And I was like, I don't know if I can do a Crisis thing, but I can definitely do like something with horror. So, fingers crossed. You know, I hope this finds you well, Stingy. But, anyway, so, if you would like to have a request done here on YouTube by me, as always, if you haven't already, hit the link below to my Patreon, and hit the 4th tier where you can not only send me requests to do here on YouTube, but also you guys can check out the exclusive content over on Patreon as well. That's where the movie reviews go. I only put Texas Chainsaw in there because I was like, I don't want to put that there. That movie is garbage. Everyone needs to hear it. So, yeah, but that's where the Batman review is going to go. That's also where the non-comic lineup videos are, the hero-villain mashups, the crossover pairings. And I'm looking for a new podcast series that I'm doing called The Requalizers, where basically me and a guest star work together to come up with an idea for a requel, aka reboot/sequel, kind of like what Halloween was. So, yeah, that's the idea. It's a podcast. We did the first one on Jaws, and we're going to do other movies in the future. So, like I said, if you'd like a request, like to check out some videos you're not going to see here on YouTube, hit the link below and join on Patreon. Anyway, so let's get started with this Patreon request. So this one is basically, Jack told me, I want to see you do a horror war. Do a war of all the horror characters. And I was like, well, I'm just coming off the high that, I was actually thinking about this when I was doing my fanfiction idea on, like, a Spider-Man version of the War of Jokes and Riddles. So, what if we did the War of Jokes and Riddles, but instead it's all horror characters? See, like a civil war between the villains. So, let's get into it. Let's get right into this. And, so this story starts out, in the tall man's funeral parlor. And he's just chilling there, like thinking about whatever the tall man do, and so he basically gets like a energy reaching out to him from the ether, and he's like, "What the fuck is that?" And it's Freddy. Freddy's like trying to contact him, and the tall man is like, "The fuck are you doing here, man?" So Freddy basically says, "Look, man, I need to get out of hell again. I want to get out of hell, and I want to help, I think we can team up. I think we can really team up, and, you and me can, just kill everyone. Just get me out of hell." Unfortunately, this did not go unnoticed, because what happened next is that Freddy gets instantly pulled back down to hell by a bunch of chains. Pinhead shows up, and he's like, sorry about that, I will deal with that, and just so you know, tall man, I know what you really are, and I don't approve of that. One day you're going to come down to my world. And the tall man is like, "Oh, I'm sorry, were you talking..." He's like looking around. He's like, "I'm sorry, were you talking to me? Boy, you don't know who you're messing with." So Pinhead is like, "Well, since I'm here, I might as well take your soul too, whatever you are." So the two, Pinhead and tall man, fight. And the two kind of end up in a draw. Like, basically, they just destroy the funeral parlor. And Pinhead's like, "This isn't over. I'm going to find the worst people in hell to kill you." And Tall Man's like, "Alright, same. I can do that." So, essentially what happens is that it's a war between Pinhead and the Tall Man. Pinhead versus Tall Man. And, I wanted to use the Tall Man because, I don't get to talk about... I don't think I've ever gotten to talk about Phantasm. And I can already hear Jason Voorhees 2011's squeeing in the background. It's a war between Pinhead and the Tall Man. Of course, he's probably freaking out right now. So basically, Tall Man goes... Because he knows he can't fight. Like, he's powerful, but he's not, like, on the same level as what Pinhead is going to go get. And essentially, the Tall Man goes out into the world to find others like him. So he recruits Candyman, he recruits Pumpkinhead, and he does it like in interesting ways. Like he finds Robotai's mirror that holds his soul and is like, hey, so I got this, and I could destroy you, you know that, so you're gonna work for me now. He more or less has Haggis, Pumpkinhead's witch, summon him and make him under his control. So he's got Candyman and Pumpkinhead. As for others, he gets Daryl Revok from Scanners. The word got away from me. Yeah, so Revok joins him. Harry Warden, a.k.a. Axel Palmer, a.k.a. the miner from My Bloody Valentine, joins him. But on the other end of that spectrum, you have Pinhead more or less going around getting other people as well. Like he forces Freddy to work for him in this war. He also goes and gets Michael. He gets Michael. He gets Chucky. He pulls out of hell some of the other people, like Horns Pickner from Shocker. Yeah, I'm bringing out the real, like, obscure ones here. He brings back the Cherub from Valentine's Day. Remember that movie from the 90s? Yeah. He even brings back Billy Loomis from the dead to make him a new version of Ghostface. But like I said, Phantasm, he gets Jason. Yeah, Tall Man, he gets Jason on his side. He gets Victor Crowley. He gets the puppets from Puppet Master. He even gets He gets the Reanimator on his side, and it's funny because Pinhead basically grabs Ash and like pulls him to hell, and is like, "So here's the deal, Williams. You're going to hell. Like that's like it's preordained that you're going to hell. But unless you don't want to go to hell, where everyone's waiting to see you, you're going to join my side." And Williams is like, "Okay." So yeah, he gets Pinhead gets Ash Williams on his side. Like I said, Herbert West joins Tall Man's side. You have Carrie gets resurrected from hell, put on Pinhead's side, and it's just like an escalation between the Tall Man and Pinhead, where the two of them are essentially just like getting all their pieces together for a big war. And what a war it is, because these guys fucking throw down. You have, like, again, Freddy and Jason fighting again, which Freddy is like, alright, taking on that guy, taking on Wayne Gretzky again. Alright, I can do that. You have Michael taking on the Miner. I'm just going to call him the Miner, because it's like two different names for him. You just have, like, all these characters just warring it out with one another, and at the whole time, like, at the back of it, and sadly, they're, like, if you were to say, like, who's the Kite Man of this story, it's probably Ash, because he'd be like, admit it, you know there'd be, like, a Kite Man moment with Williams, where he, like, he's just, like, encountering one of the villains, and he's like, "Who are you?" "Ash Williams." He's like, "Ashley Williams." "Ashley? Hell yeah." Boom! Sorry about that. Anyway, so it's safe to say that this war between Pinhead and the Tall Man has basically it goes without saying that the war's kind of spiraled out of control. Now, obviously, neither side really cares about collateral damage, and they've just been fighting from one end to another. Like, it's not just like it's not like. Well, the first battle is Pinhead more or less trying to lay siege to the funeral home, and that doesn't work. But eventually it just kind of spirals out into, like, just a war going from... Because Pinhead could just teleport his forces from one end to another. Same with the Tall Man, where he can just teleport, can use, like, his doors to send his forces wherever they need to go. So... essentially, they've just been, like, at different areas, just full-on, like, fighting one another. It's just been, like, one massive conflict across the board. And needless to say, this does not go unnoticed, because who's been watching these wars has been Christy from of course the first two Hellraiser movies. You also have Tommy Jarvis. You have Nancy. You have all like the horror survivors coming together to realize, oh shit, all of our greatest enemies have basically come together and formed like a war. So the idea is that the only way to stop this war between all the horror, the horror war, as it's being called, the horror war, the only way to really stop this madness is if someone takes out the two leaders. And yeah, so but obviously they were like, well, they're obviously you're gonna come for them, so there has to be a different way to do this. So essentially the plan is that Christy is gonna go take out the tall man, and Jesse is gonna go take out Pinhead. Unfortunately, it does not go as planned because Jesse falls to his inner vices, and Christy is actually she actually gets the one up on the tall man, but the thing is that it's really hard to kill the guy. It's really hard to kill the guy, and by the end of it, what happens is that it's Christy who, more or less using like a combination of the Lament configuration and the Necronomicon, they basically make like a massive, just not so much a doorway to hell, because obviously that's where they're coming from, so a lot of them are coming from, but instead opens up like a void, like basically Christy opens up a void to send everyone there, like all the monsters and horror characters to this like purgatory where none of them can get out. So that's how the story ends, essentially, with nobody winning the war. The only ones who manage to not get sucked in are Ash and Herbert. Like, West and Williams are the only two that on each side who don't get sucked in, probably because they they switch sides halfway through, and they're like, this is fucking dumb. Like, why am I doing this? Oh yeah, because I got forced into it. So they join with the other heroes and stop the madness from continuing any further. So there you go, guys. You guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of the horror war? Did you guys like it, hate it? Comment below, let me know. And like I said before, please send your thanks to Stingy Jack. That's a really hard word to say in one going. I'd like to thank him also for sending me this Patreon request. Hope he enjoys it, and I will be getting out the other two Patreon requests at some time. I do have a list for all Patreon requests, and there is like a bit of a waiting time for some. So, sorry about that, but there is a bit of a waiting time. But I do get to all Patreon requests at one point or another. I just got a lot. Anyway, so yeah, you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of the horror war? Did you guys like it, hate it? And who do you think would join either side? Like, I'd like to see, like, who do you think could join either side? Just comment below, let me know. And once again, if you would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below to my Patreon. Join there. I'd be happy to have you. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.